Welcome everyone to another fun-packed episode of Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. I am Chris Dredd, all hooded up, and I'm here with my main man, JB. What's going on, big man?
How are you, man? How are you doing?
Fucking cold, dude. Like, we've just put the heating on, and that's why I've got my hoodie on and I'm wrapped up. It shall be removed once the radiators heat up a little bit, and then I will remove it to reveal a bit more of my lovely mullet.
Right now you've got a very Revenge of the Sith kind of thing going on.
Revenge of the Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast hoodies. Get what I'm saying? Repping the merch.
The sweet hoodie. You can't see it because it's behind me, but I've got the logo behind me, but I do have a radiator at my back, so I'm very toasty.
Nice. What do they call them in America? Radiators? They don't call them radiators, do they?
I don't know.
I don't know. For our American viewers, they're the things that go on the wall and they're pumped with hot water and they heat up your house.
Yeah, you can dry your clothes on them as well.
Yeah. But it's a very English thing, like this time of the year when you bang the heating on, the central heating in the house.
Yeah, it's that time. It's definitely that time.
Bloody cold. So, yeah, man, I'm all right, bruv. Just a little bit cold. This is looking forward to this because it's episode 20. And we've recently done one of my favourite WrestleManias. And this week we are doing young man JB's, possibly his favourite WrestleMania of all time. I
love that he acknowledges I'm the younger man in all this.
Yes, you are the younger man. The ongoing joke of me being some old-ass son of a bitch is correct. But yes.
But yeah, it is. It's like I said, it is in my top 2 of WrestleManias. WrestleMania 24 being the other one because I was there. But WrestleMania 8.
Show me your T-shirt, bro.
Oh, in what should have been the real main event of this show. We will get to it.
Fucking
it is these two. I don't know if you can see it on there. It is the Macho Man. It is
Ric Flair and the Man Macho Man.
Rick and Randy. And yeah, before we get to any of that stuff and the news and everything else, we remind people, let us into your lives, let us into your homes. Thank you very much for watching, listening. But remember, if you like it, like it. If you love it, subscribe, comment, do a dance, sing a song, tell your friends.
Yeah, so tell someone else's friend.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean? Tell everybody.
You better
get subscribing,
somebody.
People. Yeah, you better tell somebody.
Yeah, and like I said, if you're watching this, you can see us on YouTube. There are plenty of other places that Chris will tell us all about right now where you can find us.
Yeah, dude, you can find us here on YouTube, Chat, Grapple and Cheap Pops podcast. Catch us on Instagram and Twitter. Jordan's on there hitting them up all the time. But we are also on every single podcast platform imaginable. Podbean, Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, what's Amazon Podcast. We're on flipping everywhere, literally everywhere. Daily Smart, on every single bloody podcast imaginable. We are there. Catch us there, homies.
And we definitely thank everyone for tuning in. That do hit up the downloads, because the downloads account is quite healthy. It's quite nice to look at every week to see that go up. We will start with a bit of news. We like to briefly get the junk out of the way. It's definitely junk. I don't know if you've watched any of the WWE draft over the past week, Chris. It's a snoozer.
Yeah,
just the way it is. They split up the New Day. Big E's on SmackDown. The rest of it's on Raw.
Until there's crowds back as well. It's dead off, mate. It's dead off. The most exciting part of the draft for me was Akin Fenwa saying he wanted to be part of the draft.
Yeah, Wickham Wanderers
You know,
Adebayo Akinfenwa, beast mode himself.
beast mode. You know, and a top dude.
Wanted to get in on it. Now, this was a bigger one that seemed to fly under the radar for me. I only found it because I was, just scrolling. MLW, remember them?
Yep.
They've managed to get themselves a deal on UK television, on Freeview, no less. For those of you that have Freeview, I mean, Freeview reaches millions.
What channel?
It's called the Sports Channel Network. It's in the high 200s on your Freeview box or whatever you're watching it on. But it's wrestling on free TV. No one should complain about this.
Yeah.
And I've written this down because the only thing I'm worried about is the same thing with when WCW put shows on Channel 5 and stuff like that. I said, if the programming is up to date, the production's up to scratch, this could be brilliant for them.
From what I remember, MLW did have some pretty good production, and they had some pretty good stars on and off. I don't know what their roster is like now.
Low Key, I think, is there.
Who?
Low Key.
Low Key.
Yeah.
Okay.
And former MMA star King Mo Lawal. Really good character from what I remember in MMA, but I don't know how well he transitioned into wrestling. Probably quite well if he's in MLW, But yeah, it was a random one. I only saw it because it sort of flashed by on my newsfeed, and we don't just have to watch WWE and AEW. There's plenty else out there.
That's good, man. And TNA. Come on, bruv.
Impact Wrestling, right?
No, it will always be TNA to me, damn it. But yes,
is Impact on in the UK?
I don't think so. It used to be on Bravo.
Yeah.
It used to be like a lot. I mean, them was the glory years, man. Fucking.
I'll be honest. I think the Wrestling Channel was the glory years for me, but.
Oh, TWC, man.
Yeah, that was something else, but yeah, it's not. I'm not saying it's a massive competitor to WWE and AEW like on TV, but if MLW can get it out there with a bit of decent advertising and stuff like that, why can't it get some good numbers?
100%, man. Because wrestling fans, we love wrestling, and we will watch wrestling. You know what I mean? We'll watch it.
This definitely isn't a paid plug or anything like that, but we definitely wish Court Bauer and the guys over at MLW the best on this one.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Go and watch it. Again, like I said, this isn't a plug or anything. Like, no one's paid us to say this. Like, it's something we just found randomly, and we would like to wish them all the best on the Sports Channel Network. If they want to pay us to do it, we'll do a better job of it.
We need that money. Yeah. That money.
And also, on the last bit for me, Eddie Guerrero would have been 53 on the 9th of October. We are at the time recording, it's the 15th, so we would have just missed it last week. My question for Chris, favourite match or moment of Eddie Guerrero?
Oh, man. All right. Let's go. Well, I can't just have one. I really can't just have one. Eddie Guerrero, talk about through his whole career. I mean, I've got tapes, yeah, and tape traders will know, and real wrestling fans will know Strong Style tapes, yeah, SST. They were like just tape traders tapes, yeah, and I've got the best of Los Gringos Locos.
Oh yeah, man.
So Art Barr and Eddie Guerrero in ECW.
I'm gonna stop you again just quickly. And did Art Barr have the best frog splash of all?
It was fucking cool, man. It was fucking cool. And Eddie kind of kept doing it as a tribute, I think, to Art. I mean, they were great, dude. You know, it was like, all I can say, it was kind of like the Hollywood Blondes. You know what I mean? Los Gringos Locos.
But
They were like,
they were healing it up like mad in Mexico.
yeah, dude. You know, and anyone who don't know about them, go and check it out. Eddie Guerrero and Art Bar. There's probably some matches on YouTube, but I've got strong style tapes.
There's maybe one match on an Eddie Guerrero DVD.
I think there is.
Yeah, they did.
I've got that. Yeah, Viva la Raza.
Yeah,
I think it's on Viva la Raza. Well, La Raza, as they say. But yeah, I mean, Eddie, you know, I love the guy, man. I love the guy. I've got multiple figures of him. But yeah, going through his career, I mean, Los Gringos Locos was sick. All the stuff he did with China was just, it was just amazing. You know, but the one standout moment for me was, I know it's a weird one, but it was his match at Judgment Day with JBL when he was just literally bleeding like a stuck pig, man. It was something that I don't think I'll ever forget, man. It was fucking insane. They talk about stopping matches now. That should have been stopped, man. Like,
that shouldn't have gone on another minute.
It was fucking insane.
For me, I picked the stuff where he was, you know, he was cheating to win. He was, you know, laying down the floor. I think Ricochet this week paid tribute to that by hitting a chair on the ground and then falling over quite comically.
That was great stuff. That was classic Eddie, man.
And Eddie and Rey Mysterio, 1997 Halloween Havoc. For me,
great match, man.
That's an art form.
I mean, to be honest, even Eddie Guerrero versus Six in the last episode that we just did, that match pulled the pay-per-view from the depths of its own anus. Yeah, it saved it.
Saved that pay-per-view. It was one of our crazier episodes. I will say that last week. Again, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's possibly the worst pay-per-view we've ever had to sit through. And it has to be seen to be believed with some of the hijinks that were going on in early 1997 in the NWO/WCW. But yeah, that was last week, and this week is a lot different. This is very much our early era stuff for us, especially me. April 5th, 1992. It's a day before my 5th birthday.
Yeah, I was coming up to 10 years old on this one. I was about 9 and a bit. Well, coming up to 10, yeah, on this. So I do remember it.
Something else. This it's the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana. 62,167. Although I don't think they were all paid. I think a lot of them got in for free. And this one is considered low as well. 360,000 buys on pay-per-view, which is still more than triple the business that you see when your AEW have a pay-per-view. So
I was going to just quickly say, I'm stroking my beard. Can you see? Is that getting to Anvil Neidhart
Jim
proportions?
Neidhart, yeah.
Is it getting there? You're going to have to toss that off.
It was more Undertaker from '99, that ministry stuff, but
yeah,
Undertaker never stroked it. So
yeah, sorry, man, to interrupt. I was just stroking my beard, and I was like, "Oh, that's getting."
I'm Jim sort of hoping someone comes out behind you and starts stroking it like Hawk did to Anvil.
Yeah, just the hand come round.
But like I said, this WrestleMania is, you know, and this brings us to that same thing where, you know, we don't know what we have until it's gone, because this has just got star after star after star in it. And you look at rosters now across many, many promotions and they just don't have it. And we can talk about, you know, oh, how great one company is. You know, a lot of people do that online. You know, your TV champion went 20 minutes with Orange Cassidy last night on Dynamite. I'm not feeling it. I didn't want to bring it up, but when we talk about star power, you've got Cody, who is a star, don't get me wrong, and he's trying to elevate as many as he can. But they started flip-flopping the TV title. I mean, the heavyweight championship seems to stay where it's at because Moxley, I almost said Ambrose, and I almost did a Taz.
Yeah.
He did beat Archer, but I mean, there's not many more heels for him to go up against.
Dude, I'm telling you this, right? He should have fucking lost to MJF, man. The hype around that match was as big as anything they've had recently.
Oh.
He should have lost it, man. And and MJF could have been healing it up, keeping the title through dastardly means, and just pissing all the AEW marks off.
This is I know rotation is what it is in wrestling, but MJF is now doing some comedy stuff with the Inner Circle, and momentum's gone.
It's dead. They fucking killed it, and we called it, man. We called it on this fucking show. We called it. They in doing that, they completely killed any heat that he had, and now because he should have been a serious heel, because he doesn't have to be a joke piss take person.
No, now he's buying jackets for the Inner Circle.
Yeah, he can be a heel champion, and he would have been a real good one because people genuinely, I mean, granted, it's a lot of people that don't fucking understand the wrestling business, but people did genuinely hate him.
There was a lot of hype around him, and
there was, and giving him the strap would have given. I was going to say Ambrose as well. It would have given Moxley like someone legitimate to feud with to build it up. It pissed me off. I won't lie to you. It still pisses me off now.
Yeah, they are running out of heels to feed to Moxley, apart from maybe Miro, and I guess if they do a rematch with Jericho, that's it.
I mean, even MJF would have been able to have great heel matches with Miro. He would have been able to have great matches. I think he would have still kept that, because he should have kept his valet. He would have kept his, like in this show, you had Ric Flair, who had Mr. Perfect, who was fucking getting involved, doing his bits and bobs. That is a heel champion. You've got to have different aspects to the game.
I know they're pushing towards Moxley and Eddie Kingston now, which is fine. Kingston can talk. I'm not convinced he can go in the ring, but that's me. That's my opinion. I'm not Jim Cornette, but it is my opinion.
I mean, what's annoying though, dude? AEW will be the death of itself, and I'll tell you why. Because they're listening to the fans too much. They're playing to these fucking, as Pillman would say, smart marks. They're playing too much to the smart marks. They should just do the business as the business should be done, and stop listening to dickheads who are sitting behind the computer at home and think they know the wrestling business. That is the reason why. That, what I'm saying, like dickheads like us. But that is the reason I truly believe that they didn't put the strap on MJF, because they were listening to the internet too much. When really, if they would have just done it, give it a chance and pushed it, I think they would have found that it would have garnered a lot of heat. A lot of heat. But they fucked up. As was said in Menace to Society, you don't fucked up, right? And they don't fucked up.
It is what it is. We're not in charge of AEW yet.
But it's upsetting as well, because there was a lot of hype when AEW came in. And I was very, very excited when it first came in. I was watching and seeing what was going on, but it's becoming very disappointing. And it's getting to the point now where I honestly feel that it will go down the pisser. I honestly think it's not going to be around long term. I reckon it's probably leaking money, especially to do with Corona and stuff like. That's why they wanted to let a few fans in to get a bit of revenue. They were probably the first promotion to let any fans in, and it was probably financial, to the fact where they said, we need to get some fucking money in, because they don't have the big money deals that WWE have, and they haven't got. Like I say, I'm doubtful that the Khans are really going to be throwing as much money at it as Vinnie Mac would. I honestly, I don't think they're going to do it, because they've got their fingers in too many pies. They own American football teams, they own English football teams. They've got fingers in lots of pies, man. It's You know, we'll see how it goes, and we're not wishing death upon them. But I'm just saying,
absolutely not.
you know,
We're
if
just
it
hoping they do
carries
a bit
on,
better.
the product just ain't quite good enough yet. It just ain't quite good enough
And
yet, and that's disappointing more than anything.
It is disappointing because, you know, WWE, for all its faults, and there are many, we are not going to list them now.
100%, man. Yeah.
They can still pull out a great story, and I mean, you just have to look at Roman and Jey Uso. They've literally pulled a story out of their asses on this one, and it's a damn good one. They don't always get it right. More often than not, they get it wrong. You see some terrible main events. You see some terrible stories and terrible gimmicks, but they can nail a story. And this is where AEW need to learn, because they almost nailed a story with MJF. Almost.
Exactly. They almost nailed a story, but then they buckled to the smart marks and the Moxley marks. And, you know, like I say, to me, I'm not a Moxley fan anyway. I've said this multiple times. I just don't really think he has that charisma. I think he's one-dimensional. I think that the one-dimensional character of a poor man Steve Austin. That's it, bro.
But we will move. We will move.
We're going to move on.
We'll move on because
it does seem like we kind of use AEW as the whipping boys most weeks, but it's not. I think it's just because we care what's going to happen to them. I genuinely think that's why.
We want to see them, you know,
thrive.
Yeah, we don't want to see them pull plugs on pushes and stuff like that. We want to see them
100%
take the plunge on something, and they didn't, and this is where they are now. But yeah, we moved to WrestleMania 8 in Indianapolis.
Yeah, dude.
Chris, I believe you're watching VHS this week.
I am watching the VHS as per, and this VHS, if people can see on their screens, isn't the VHS that you can see the cover that we have on our background. It is in fact the VHS that came with the WWF Legacy VHS collection, which I will bloody hell that I will show now, and it is this beast.
That is impressive.
It is 15 VHSs, WrestleMania 1 to 15 on VHS, and that, I mean, I've got loads of the WrestleManias, you know, individual as well. You know, I made sure I had the Tyson one. I've got WrestleMania 7, WrestleMania 3. But I've got a shitload of different WrestleManias, 17, 18, on individual one. But this Legacy box set is something that I had to have it.
This is the only WrestleMania I have on VHS now.
Is it really?
Yeah, this is it. This is the one. I refuse to get rid of it. When I got rid of like so many others, like I just couldn't part with this one. So if and when, just shout out when there's a Silver Vision or Coliseum Video exclusive.
Coliseum exclusives. There are right. Coliseum exclusives, yes.
But we do get the killer Vince promo at the beginning of the show. It's a double main event, you know.
Yeah.
You can't beat the Vince shouting stuff. And it is a double main event for some reason.
I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is.
Of course it shouldn't. But Hogan is Hogan in this, so we'll try not to dog him too much until we get to the main event. But like I said, Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Heenan opened the show. Heenan is already looking for the pictures of Elizabeth on the big screen. There is a lot of Bobby Heenan quotes to be had on this show. If you're looking for Bobby Heenan's some of his best work, it's here in Royal Rumble 92 by far. You know,
he's on fire.
WrestleMania 7. But Bobby Heenan is on fire in 1992. Absolutely on fire. And we get the American National Anthem sung by country music superstar Reba McEntire. Now, Reba is a superstar, don't get me wrong. She has her own sitcom as well. Or I think she had her own sitcom later on down the line. I don't think it's on anymore. But, I mean, that is superstar stuff, isn't it?
Oh.
You get your own sitcom, you're made. There was a lot of... yeah. And Bobby Heenan can't help himself. That's Ariba McIntyre.
Arriba, Matt. He goes, as soon as she stopped singing, he went, "Oh, damn, Tito's sister sure can belt it out."
Yeah.
Arriba McIntyre. And it was just literally from the word go. He's on it.
He is on one tonight. Our first match it was meant to be Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, but Marty Jannetty was fired for being arrested. I don't have the full story on that. I just know that he was meant to obviously have his blow off on this feud with Shawn Michaels here at WrestleMania 8, but it doesn't happen. It happens later on in 92.
Didn't they end up doing it on Raw?
I'm pretty sure they do have a match on a pay-per-view. I can't remember which one right now, but
no, I can't.
Yeah,
that's how much.
Raw doesn't start until 93, so.
Oh yeah,
It does make a comeback in 92, but
right.
late in 92. But yeah, this was meant to be Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty. Doesn't happen. It is Tito in there in his place against Shawn Michaels, who is with Sensational Sherry. Bobby Heenan is whistling the theme tune for Shawn Michaels.
It's brilliant. I mean, I've got a little bit of memorabilia to show as well, some more, and it is a signed picture of Tito Santana.
Oh, look at that. Arriba.
El Matador. With the pink and green, baby.
Yeah, the outfit is it's pink and it's green tights with a bit of pink on it.
Lovely.
Gorilla notes that the arena isn't full yet. Bobby Heenan starts mocking, saying that they haven't set their clocks forward or back. I think it's forward.
Yeah, so, and he's saying the traffic outside, because apparently it was rammed outside the arena as well. There's a bit of traffic trouble.
Bobby says that he doesn't. Shawn Michaels doesn't allow any BIM woman to be there, and
yeah, it's great stuff, man. Like this is, I mean, there was a real big heel pop for Shawn, as in a lot of fucking boos, which is great stuff when he was coming to the ring, because this is pretty much the birth of the Heartbreak Kid. It is the beginning of,
this is very much the beginning, because Sherry is the one singing the theme song, not Shawn.
It's great. I love that theme song of Sherry singing it, and she's in there and she's doing the butt grab. She's standing in the ring like grabbing her own butt and stuff. And just the kiss on the cheek and stuff like that. And Shawn saying to her, "Look, behave yourself. Behave yourself. Go out." And don't do nothing until I tell you. And it's just, it's brilliant. They're building this character of this arsehole. And who would have thought that he would become and blossom into the arsehole that he became? But anyway.
Well, Bobby Heenan would later on in this match. He's already suggesting that Santana punched Sherry. Gorilla's telling him it's early and not to start.
Yeah, that's it.
I think Bobby Heenan suggested that he pinned a few people with the side headlock. He did. Give up during instructions. It's quote after quote. He is just reeling them off.
It's brilliant.
Shawn Michaels hits the, Gorilla calls it the reverse crescent kick.
Yeah, I've got that here. Yeah, which would later become the Sweet Chin music.
Tito hits the flying forearm. Bobby calls it the flying jalapeno.
That's right, or the flying burrito as well.
Yeah. It's a weird finish, though.
It is a weird finish because, the match itself, it was all Tito. It was pretty much all Tito. But it makes me think that they're just doing the match that would have been Marty Jannetty and Shawn. Because
even the pin, because Sherry doesn't reach in and grab his leg or anything like I was expecting it. I expect it every time I watch this damn show.
Yeah.
And Tito just falls to the ground.
I think because he's holding Shawn's, so he goes up to slam him.
Yeah.
Tito takes him up to slam him, and Shawn's holding onto the top rope. And I think what they're saying is he kind of lost his balance and went down. But then he doesn't really even hook the legs too
No,
much
just
to
stays
keep him down for the 3. And it's a bit of a confusing finish, you know, where the bell goes and the music comes on. Yeah, it's a weird one, but Shawn Michaels gets the heel win.
Yeah. Bobby Heenan calls him the star of the 90s. And he
You would be
was,
correct.
yeah, he is more than right.
Mm-mm.
Even though, you know, I was never the biggest Shawn Michaels fan in the 90s. Even now watching it, I'm still thinking, you know, he's a prick and I can't really get past it. But, you know, we know what he becomes. We know how great he is. You know, you only have to look at what we talked about 2 weeks ago at WrestleMania 19 and his match with Chris Jericho, where they stole that show off of everybody.
Yeah, he could go. You're like, you know, you can say whatever you want about Shawn burying people or whatever backstage, or the politics of it, or this or that, or, you know, but you can't really say anything about his in-ring ability. He was...
This is just before Mr. WrestleMania, though, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, but this is the beginning.
Yeah.
This is the beginning of that character, because, you know, what did he have on the back of his jacket? It's like, I'm too sexy for this show or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I thought it was going to, yeah, it would say for the shirt or something, but
Yeah.
no, it definitely
Says,
isn't for the shirt, you know.
Yeah, I'm too sexy for this show.
It's a fucking
And
song.
at the end as well, when his music's playing and stuff, he grabs Sherry by the hair and like throws her on the floor,
Yeah.
and then she's like lying there on the floor, and then he gets behind her, and that's the beginning of the pose routine of Shawn Michaels. You know, he's building it up slowly.
And yeah, it wasn't too slow of a build for Michaels. He does, well, maybe it is actually, because he doesn't really push out until he does become Intercontinental Champion in like late '92, but it doesn't start showing until later on.
Yeah, because even they mentioned that Shawn Michaels has already challenged the winner of the Intercontinental Championship on this show. But for me as well, there's other matches on this card. Like the way this card is set out, I didn't like it. I didn't like it because it degrades part of the double main event. Some of the matches that they chuck in, we'll get to them.
Well, one got booted from the show. One didn't end up happening because of time.
What match was that?
It was Bulldog Berserker.
Yeah, see, again, but that's another nothing. It was another nothing match that would have meant nothing really. It weren't no part of no storylines or...
I mean, it would have meant more to the UK crowd who were having the WWF guys come over for a tour like straight after.
That's right, yeah, because they mentioned that, and Bobby Heenan says, "Oh, I'll be in Sheffield in a few days or whatever, in a week or so, or whatever."
Yeah. That would have, it would have played to our side of the pond a lot easier, but nevertheless. Mean Gene straight away. Here they come, and it's Legion of Doom with Paul Ellering, Precious Paul. Another fun piece of info is that LOD were meant to challenge Money Inc. on this show, but Hawk was suspended. So they couldn't build it, and they decided that they weren't going to go that way.
What, I mean, suspended, I take it, for drug taking or for doing what?
I'm not really sure. That's the bit I didn't quite get, but it's just noted that he was suspended and couldn't compete on the show. He could, he was still technically suspended, I guess, when he did the interview. But
he seemed to be a little bit shaky during the interview.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, this is peak 90s debauchery times, probably. But I've got to mention, I saw a video literally 2 days ago. It was the Legion of Doom, so it was Hawk and Animal, and they'd just been baptized, so they're in the church.
I saw this.
Have you seen this?
Yeah.
And it's weird because you've got, I mean, and recently, obviously, Joe Laurinaitis has passed away recently. And in this video, it's probably late 90s, I would say. What do you reckon? Or maybe early 2000s. When did Hawk die?
What was it, 2000? Oh, Christ, it must be 2004, 5 maybe?
Yeah, so this was looked like it was maybe year 1999 or 2000, maybe, or something like that. But, you know, it was them in church talking about how Hawk was up there and talking about how he's been saved and how he got baptized and his wife got baptized, and Joe's talking about it and stuff. And I know it's like a big thing in America, they're being saved, and you know, it's quite a religious country, really, if you think about it. America's a massive religious country, and it's he says this line, and it's like something like they're doing a promo in a church, like, you know, and Hawk gets the mic, and it's just like, you know, he said, I know sometimes the Lord works through me now, and I just say whatever I say, and I don't think about it. The Lord works through me. And he says something like, they said that when I would be baptized and when I get saved, that the devil will be after me. Well, let me tell you something. If he comes over after me, I'm going to kick his butt. And it was just, he's like spitting a promo in a church after he's just been baptized. It's just amazing. You know, and he gets the pop. They get the pop in the church as well. Like, you know, it's just incredible stuff, man. Incredible
Church pop. That's
the
something.
church pop. He gets that Sunday morning pop, man. It's good shit.
This isn't a bad interview, though, to be honest. I thought there's some good bits about it. Yeah. You know, Ellering in particular, you know, saying that revenge unites them. I think Animal says Jimmy Hart is scum.
The lowest scum of the earth. And you know what's funny, though? Out of all the Legion of Doom's interviews, this is one of the LOD interviews that I remember vividly, and I still remember it to this day. When, you know, there's loads of different parts of it, but like I say, Ellering's a main part of it as well. But then you've got Hawk and Animal, when he says, like, you'll be hearing the crowd chanting LOD, LOD, and then they start chanting it, and he goes, and you will not be able to, you know, and it's just like, yeah, fucking yeah, man. It gets me really hyped. And then, you know, Ellering's talking about, revenge has brought me here and stuff. And then Hawk does a classic bit where he turns to Gene and he goes, Gene, we've been like a runaway train.
Yeah.
Scary, huh, Gene? And then he goes, but now you know what's even more scary? Look who's driving the train. Like, and it's just, it is one of the LOD interviews that I will always remember because it's bloody good. It's good.
The best line in it for me is where Ellering says they've always earned their money the old-fashioned way. They, you know, we beat people for it, and I'm like,
that's right, beat people.
That's for it. You know, really good. Like, and I was. It's a good LOD interview. Not you know, too much yelling, not too much shouting, not too much.
Hawk was very subdued when he's talking. He's like, you know, we were like a runaway train. You know, it's it was cool, and Heenan sells it as well because. Ellering says, you know, from the cradle to the rocking of the cradle, or to the hand from the rocking of the cradle, from the to the grave, people be there. And then Heenan goes, that's the man that rocks the cradle, gorilla. You know what I mean? And he's just selling it that now Ellering's there. You know, it's gonna be fucking what a rush. You know, it's good. Good interview, man. Good shit.
Sean Mooney is with Jake the Snake. We have a lot of these backstage interviews before some of the matches. This one isn't as good as some of Jake's other works, but he does call Jack Tunney senile.
I mean, it's not Jake's best interview, but it's still fucking good, man.
No, but there is a massive reason for it, and Jake is not exactly at his best on this night. They do recap his attack on The Undertaker and Paul Bearer in the funeral parlour and in the weeks before. And the reason Jake isn't giving off his best work is because Jake would demand his release before he walks out to the ring. He'd asked beforehand a couple of times maybe in between January and March, excuse me, that he wanted to leave. He was in discussions with Kip Fry in WCW. He obviously knew his value because he was, I'll be honest, he was the top heel in 1991, maybe barring Ric Flair. He did some of the most heelish stuff that you could think of. He got a Cobra to bite Randy Savage. He slapped Elizabeth. He was on top of his game. He was probably the heel of 91 by probably by far as well. I mean, Flair was 100%. Flair, but
yeah. I mean, even on this show, before this, where he was describing, what he did to the Undertaker, and he DDT'd Paul Bearer, and he had the Undertaker's hand in the casket, and he fucking,
hitting him with a chair.
It's so good the way he describes it when they're watching it back. He goes, "Yeah, too fast, bad landing." When he's talking about DDTing, he's the king of psychology, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Exactly.
He knew how to make people angry.
And
good.
Knowing that he couldn't get any more main event opportunities really in the WWF, even though he probably could have gone on and done a bit more work with Savage after WrestleMania, he realised that he was probably going to be worth a bit more in WCW, and that's not, someone jump in because they're a reject and all that nonsense that we hear every week because someone else has gone to another company.
Yawn.
It's Jake with his own notoriety, especially from late 91, knowing that he's going to be worth more in WCW and he'll get a higher program, bit more money, maybe even a few title shots on the way.
Yeah.
And he decided to hold the show up and say, look, I'm not going out there unless you give me my release. And Vince didn't really have a choice. Well, obviously he had a choice, but he picked the right one.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely not any way to do business, but Jake knew he had to do what he had to do to get out of his deal with the WWF.
And if you say he'd likely probably asked a few times and Vince had probably refused it, and he felt, well, this is my only avenue.
Also, it's also pretty well known that he wanted to do some booking as well, and that was never going to happen in the WWF at the time. They had their own, they had the head, the man himself, the chief, Vince, and Pat Patterson and Bruce Pritchard, those lot doing the rest of the work. So Jake was sort of disillusioned with it all and wanted to move on. And again, not the way to do it, but this is how he did it. He demanded his release, or he wasn't going to go out. So he got his release, and he does go out and wrestle The Undertaker. And for someone who was a heel champion, heavyweight champion in 1991, The Undertaker gets a pretty good pop in April of 1992.
Yeah, that says huge pop for Taker.
Yeah.
I think it's probably because of what Hogan done.
Hogan's complaining to Jack Tunney, probably turned him babyface.
That's right. That's exactly what did it. Turned him face.
Gorilla says there's a smell of formaldehyde. Heenan says, I thought that was your cologne.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
And he reminds us that he's Indiana's favourite Bobby.
It's great, man. Heenan's great in this when they're talking about The Undertaker, and he's like, Death never takes a holiday. And Gorilla's like, will you stop? That's the first, will you stop?
Yeah.
He's like, that may be Lurch. He says, The Undertaker's the only guy that takes a holiday at 1313 Mockingbird Avenue. That may be Lurch.
Jake tries to stick a move early. This is very early Undertaker, so it's very slow, very methodical, very, every movement means something in this. And there's a lot of blatant chokes in this. It was something I noticed. I think the match probably fell apart. Anything that they probably were going to do properly fell by the wayside when Jake said, I'm just getting this and I'm done and I'm out of here. I'm not sticking around.
Yeah.
So they have as best a match as they can. Jake does hit the DDT. And then
hits him with two, don't he?
Taker, pretty much no sells it by sitting up.
Yeah. I do love I've always loved Jake the Snake's move where he does the arm wringer to the short arm clothesline.
Short arm clothesline, yeah, he does hit that.
It's one of my favourite wrestling moves of all time because it's just so smooth and it just looks the business. And Jake just, it's great. Jake is really one of my favourite wrestlers of all time. He's not necessarily in the ring or physique-wise, probably what people would say is a wrestler, but psychology-wise and
the psychology and the art of it is,
and the art of it, the thought of what has gone into the psychology and his move sets and the way he executes the moves, the way he sells. He's just fucking great, man. He always was.
Jake does go after Paul Bearer like at ringside, but the Undertaker catches up with him, tombstones him on the floor. Gorilla says Tombstone City. Now, is that anywhere near Suplex City?
Don't know. I think they're twinned with each other.
Oh, okay, yeah, twinned with some random town in Europe. Yeah, I get you.
Yes.
Taker rolls him in for a free count, and the fans love it. That's it. That's Jake being buried on pay-per-view, and that's him done.
Because Tunney wouldn't let him bring the snake down.
No. Yeah, that was a weird one. But then once you realise that Jake is doing what he's doing, he just he's out of there. He's sort of makes sense. And they do cut to Mean Gene pretty quickly after this. They don't hang around on this match. Yeah,
I mean, we do catch the old, the classic WWF fan that can be seen at pretty much every single WrestleMania from bloody God knows when to God knows when.
Is this Vladimir?
Vladimir, vest guy with the glasses. Vladimir, you can see him. That's our first glimpse of him that we catch just after this match. And he's very much a part of my childhood remembrance of WrestleManias. Vladimir is, yeah, man. Because
Vladimir, if you're out there, man, shout out to you,
dude. I don't know if he's still. You know what, dude? How awesome would it be to have Vladimir on as a guest on the podcast?
He would have seen some serious stuff.
He would have seen and heard some shit, boy. Like he was at pretty much every WrestleMania. Front row every time, and sometimes he was blenched, man. He was, with his vest on and his muscles. I mean, if you're out there, dude, Vladimir, or if anyone knows, let us know on Twitter. Let us know anywhere if he's still around, if he's still alive. We'd love to get him on, man. Vladimir, big up yourself.
We do move to Mean Gene, who, now this is the best of the backstage interviews for me. Like, one of them comes pretty close later on, but the backstage interview with Roddy Piper and Bret Hart is
another one that I'll never forget. Another one that I'll never forget. It was great.
Roddy is joking about the Harts. He's making a few, trying to keep the mood nice and light, saying, Bret, couldn't tie his shoes or something, or
he's like, yeah, I remember when you was potty trained. You weren't potty trained till you were 7, but it doesn't matter. Yeah. He's like, when you learned to tie your shoes were always tied together. It doesn't matter.
One slice of bologna in the sandwich.
What he's talking about. Your mum used to be down there making the bologna sandwiches. There was only one slice of bologna, but hell, it don't matter.
Bret wasn't having it.
No, he weren't. I mean, it's again another one of the interviews of WWF that I'll always remember, and it's this Roddy Piper and Bret Hart one where Roddy, the way he is with the belt, and he's like, let me tell you something, brother, you know what I mean? And he's like, it's good.
It almost falls apart. They almost like start fighting each other there and then, but Roddy is carrying this one, obviously.
Yeah.
But they almost come to blows, and it is really good because Roddy's saying, not today. Oh, you want to be a big shot, and
let me help you out something. Yeah, and he's like,
he's already got his belt wrapped around his fist.
That's right.
Yeah, he's absolutely.
Bye. When he does that, I'll always remember that when he's got the belt. Yeah, bye.
He has it with "She Be Mine." Yeah.
Yeah, She Be Mine. Yeah, it's fucking great, man. It's one of them promos that you never forget, man.
Now, do you feel like this match was not placed properly on the card?
Yes, 100%. Too early. Too early. The crowd was the card was arse about face.
A little bit, yeah.
It was fucked. You know where this match should have gone? In between the main events.
Possibly.
Or before the main
You
event.
might have lost the crowd in between those main events, like you did, though. I mean, you've lost the crowd in between the double main event.
Yeah.
Because they went silent for the matches in between. So, I mean, we've already said Hogan shouldn't have gone on last anyway, but we'll get
Hogan shouldn't have been on the fucking show, man. He shouldn't have even been on the show. He just wanted his WrestleMania retainer. There was no reason for him to be on the show. There was no reason for fucking Brutus the Barber Beefcake to be on the goddamn show. He was on the fuck.
Absolutely, there wasn't. We'll get to that.
He was on the fucking show as well. Jesus.
But it's a rare it's a WrestleMania babyface match. It's Bret Hart and Roddy Piper, who was our Intercontinental Champion. Bobby Heenan's in fine form here as well. I don't know. Maybe I don't need to say it anymore because we already know he's excellent in this.
He was good. He's got just quickly. Did you see the 4 Horsemen banner in the crowd just before this match? It briefly got lifted up, and I think they bottled it a little bit. But I saw a 4 Horsemen banner, and I was thinking, yes, please raise it up. And they just got to put it up for a second, and then brought it down.
It comes up in the Flair match as well. You might see it as Flair's.
Yeah, mate, fucking good.
Piper spits at Bret, which draws a few boos. Yeah, so Piper is sort of healing it up, but not properly.
Yeah.
Bobby and Gorilla agree on something. And
yeah,
they're like WrestleMania. Yeah, you're right. We're getting out of
here. And Bobby, he's great when he goes, I remember when I was champion, Monsoon. And he goes, when were you champion? He's like, I was champion in my neighborhood. He's like, I had the best girl, I had it's great. He was on fine form in this match.
I noticed this pretty, there was an absolute art form to Roddy selling an arm wringer. This went on for ages.
Yeah, it was a really good
match. At no point was it boring. At no point was it 2 clowns dancing on an apron, kicking, to a song, kicking people. Something we saw this week on Twitter.
Oh, dude.
Something else that someone sent me today. Slow motion wrestling. Fuck off, man. Don't be acting up in that.
As Corny would say, it's these fucking cosplay wrestlers, bro.
Yeah, cosplay.
Fucking shit. Cosplay fucking shit.
But yeah, Roddy's selling the arm wringer, and Bret has got him in it, and it's amazing. If you get a minute, watch this and watch that back because it's perfect. But then Bret fakes a shoulder injury, and Bobby is maybe he's gold bricking.
Yeah, will you stop?
Yeah, Gorilla's not having it, and then he pulls in for a small package, and all you can hear is Bobby going, "He's gold bricking, he's gold bricking."
Yeah, it's so good.
But Piper is also not having that and throws a slap at Bret. This match is just getting more and more heated as we go on.
It's great.
And then he sucker punches Bret.
Yeah.
When Bret is dealing with
his laces. He's trying to fix his laces.
Yeah, he sucker punches him, and Bret blades.
Yes.
He would tell WWF officials at the time that it was an accident. He didn't blade and all that, and I think they believed him for some reason. I mean, we can see it on camera when he blades, but
he's trying to kayfabe it, man.
Yeah.
Try to fucking kayfabe
it. He blades just above his eye, so he tries to make it seem like it's not a traditional blade, position.
Yeah, because it's when he hits the turnbuckle. I think he tries to do it, don't he?
No, he does it on the floor after the punch.
Oh, right, because directly after he gets up off the floor, then Piper smacks him into the turnbuckle.
Yeah. No, as soon as he gets punched, he goes down. You just see his hand go up to his head, and you're like, "Oh, fucking hell!"
Yeah.
There you go.
Because Bret rarely used to blade, did he?
Not really. No, there'd be the odd blade job here and there, but nothing. His opponents would blade.
Mm-hmm.
But no. Piper would then start working the eye, which was which added to it because they're selling it as a legitimate sort of injury. Piper starts working it with the punches, and the fans are into every second of this. This whole match has just become a heated masterclass.
It's great, man. There's a little comeback where Brett does his snap suplex, and it is the way the way Brett snaps his legs back when he snaps Piper back. It's like they're both in the air at the same time, and it's just man. I mean, Brett's snap suplexes were always great anyway. But I've also got some more memorabilia, dude.
Here we go. Let's get this memorabilia up.
And I will say, this is probably one of my prized possessions. And it is a Bret Hitman Hart Best There Is, Best There Was, Best There Ever Will Be 3-disc collector's edition DVD, signed by the man himself.
Look at that. That is glorious.
It is pride of place on my collection shelves, and it's got to be one of my prized possessions, 100%. And I mean, Bret the Hitman Hart had one of the sexiest signatures of all wrestlers of all time.
Yeah. I'm lucky to have one as well. I have a signed photo of Bret. It feels like a prized possession when it's Bret, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's he was, I know it's cliche, but as wrestling goes, he is probably the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
It's our generation, isn't it?
It is 100%, and a lot of people knock Bret, right? A lot of people knock him, and they say, they call him, sour grapes or whatever kind of thing. But he really wasn't, like he's just a very honest person. Like he was, if you watch, there's a lot of shoot interview snippets on YouTube and stuff, and he's really respectful a lot of the time. He's not sour grapes. He just,
I've got a reason on this. Or even a line, it's someone that took himself seriously in an industry that no longer takes itself seriously.
Yeah,
like I said, two clowns dancing on a ring apron, kicking people to shit music.
Yeah,
it doesn't take it seriously anymore, and that's a shame. But
yeah, because that's the
smarks, doesn't it? So
it does, but this is the problem, bro. Now they've gone too far where no one suspends their disbelief anymore. And everyone's just looking for the most ridiculous angle or whatever. But I mean, as punches and that go, Bret Hart had one of the best punches in the business that looked real. Probably way up there alongside Razor Ramon, Scott Hall. His punch was just incredible. So Bret always had that kind of, you bought into what he was doing when, even though you might have thought it was, fake or whatever, predetermined, whatever, when you watched Bret wrestle, you kind of always bought into it because you're watching, you were like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
there's a real intensity to this match. Like, which just it sucked the crowd in. They're into every last drop of it. We do get a ref bump.
Yeah.
Piper decides he's going to go and get the belt, and this is where Piper starts to get booed, like, pretty heavily.
Yeah.
He decides against using it, which he starts, gets back on side with the fans. Puts Bret in the sleeper, which is his move. He's put countless people out with it, including Hogan in later on in '96. And Bret does something that no one's seen before. He uses the turnbuckle to push himself back and Piper, so Piper would land on his own shoulders. And we get a free count. Piper hasn't been pinned in years, clean.
It's a fucking great finish to a great match.
Yeah.
And the pop was incredible.
What a piece of work this was. I really enjoyed it, every second of it. And, you know, Piper graciously gives Brett the belt, puts it on him, and they go off into the sunset of this show. What a match! You know, I would probably say the match of the night. I mean, there is another match which has just as much intensity and is just as wild, but yeah, I would pick this one as the winner.
You're probably right, man. I would say match of the night for intensity, storyline, creativity, finish.
It's a good storyline, you know, and
just overall a good match.
A good storyline is never lost on us, and Bobby Heenan has a surprise for us.
Oh, dude.
Yes, this is amazing. I love this.
Yeah.
It's the newest addition to the World Bodybuilding Federation. The man that was WCW World Champion about 2 months before this is the total package, Lex Luger. And he calls Gorilla fat pretty much right out of the gate in his interview. And,
it's pretty good, man, because he says, yeah, I love what you're doing, Bobby, how you're bringing the legitimacy to this. And he goes, I'm not sure about the fat one. And then Gorilla's like, hey. He's like, but you, Bobby, excellent.
Luger is putting himself over. He's talking about, you know, his training and stuff. And then he whips his jumper off. And holy fuck.
And he then reveals who wins the ICO Pro award for this week.
He does. He's clearly the winner. I mean, one person comes close, but like not really.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luger is jacked as shit here. He picks up a nice glass of what I believe is probably white chocolate ICO Pro.
Yeah, I'd say that. It's clearly ICO Pro.
He downs that, he is the winner of our award this week because, Jesus Christ, man. He is bulging out of that vest.
It's so funny how every single week, me and Jordan, we independently of each other, we never discuss this before the show. We watch the show, we make our own notes, but we always end up picking the same person to win the ICO Pro Award every single week because we know what it takes to win the ICO Pro Award.
We know the sacrifices that they make.
We know the sacrifices that it needs to be made to win the prestige of that award. And this week it is the total package Lex Luger.
He is healing it up as well with Bobby, and it's good stuff.
Do you remember?
Pretty shocking as well at the time.
Well, I mean, it was because he was in WCW for years before this. Yeah. And in the coming up to 91, 92, he wasn't that big in WCW. Obviously, he's left WCW, hopped on a cycle.
He was the guy picked to replace Flair when Flair was fired. So he was put in a pretty tough position. And he'd had enough of it, even though he was champion. So he would drop the title to Sting at possibly Super Brawl or something. And he said said he was done with wrestling, which I think someone else said that to WCW officials as well. Said they were done with wrestling, they were never going back to it. They were going to go back and work at the bar or something. That was Kevin Nash's one.
Yeah.
He turned up on WWF TV within a few weeks. And Luger, said he was done with wrestling. I think he probably thought he was going to go for it with this whole WBF stuff, and doesn't really.
He was ripped.
WBF
he was ripped.
Did it?
No, I mean, he said he'd only had a couple of weeks to get into the shape that he was in at that time.
Can you imagine if he had more time?
That, he was absolutely ripped. He was, clear winner of the ICO Pro Award, absolutely ripped. And Heenan was loving it.
Yeah, if Heenan he had a massive sort of turn on here for Luger and whatever Luger was doing and saying. And the way he drank that white chocolate ICO Pro shake.
That's right.
There's a promo next backstage with the Nasty Boys, Repo Man and the Mountie. They're super hyped about their match.
Mental. The way Repo Man comes creeping in at the back.
Yeah. I can't remember much about this interview apart from that they looked like they were on something.
Oh, they were all like, cocaine's a hell of a drug, bro.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And then we flip over to Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Virgil, Sergeant Slaughter and the Big Boss Man, and fuck me, Virgil's a lousy promo.
Oh, it's terrible. Absolute dog
That's
shit.
all I
Sorry,
took from
Virgil.
that. Was once he started talking, I was gone. I was like, I can't listen to this crap. They have Ray Coombs doing the intros for this 8-man tag. Ray would be the host of Family Feud in America, which is Family Fortunes in the UK. If anyone,
Yeah, so he was basically the American Les Dennis.
Les Dennis. and that's the reference, the weird reference we're going to get into a show. Like every week, it seems like we get a weird British reference in. Last week it was Hyacinth Bouquet. I think the week before we got in Core Blimey.
That's right.
This week it's Les Dennis
On Family Fortunes. That's right.
Yeah.
But they got Ray Coombs on there introducing them because it was promoting the WWF version of Family Feuds.
Yeah.
So all that week they had WWF versions.
They were up against the WBF guys, I think.
Did you ever see the wrestling version of The Weakest Link with Anne Robinson?
I did, yeah.
See, that's another obscure British reference, Anne Robinson. You know what I mean? Like on The Weakest Link.
I think she did do the American Weakest Link as well, didn't she? So.
I remember, yeah. So she did that. There's a the WWF version of The Weakest Link as well. I'll tell you what, I do want to see the WWF Family Feud. It'd be good to watch it because Heenan goes, he goes, Heenan's like, yeah, I'm going to be on there and I'm going to win all the money.
Yeah, he
Our
does.
survey said, I just fucking love it, man. But it would have been nice to see Les Dennis with the WWF guys doing Family Fortunes.
Les Dennis, British comedian, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, he's more known for what he did in the show Extras because he was hilarious in that.
He was good. He was on Coronation Street as well, wasn't he?
Was
Les
he?
Dennis? Yeah. Or Emmerdale, one of them.
I have no idea, man.
It's crazy. Actually, talking about Coronation Street, I've seen a really weird interview and it had Kevin Hart behind the bar at the Rovers' return, just with a pint, and Liz McDonald. And then he's outside Roy Cropper's calf as well, like this. It's just crazy.
That just reminds me of that random photo of like Chris Brown and stuff, like, maybe another rapper or something, and in the background you've got the guy who plays Ricky Butcher.
Yeah.
Just standing there grinning his arse off, like.
It's crazy.
These are some weird British references we're getting in, and I think we're going to have to get back to the wrestling.
Get back to the wrestling.
It is the Nasty Boys, Reaper Man and Mountain against Duggan, Virgil, Bossman and Slaughter. Bobby Heenan plugs that they're on the Family Feud that week. He also stops everything because he's just been informed that Shawn Michaels has left the building.
Yeah, and then Monsu's like, no one cares. Why you take no one cares? So good.
Now, here's an interesting thing as well. I was caught by surprise. Hacksaw Jim Duggan was laying into someone, gets caught out, and Gorilla says, "One too many hoes."
In different area codes.
I thought The Godfather was about to come out.
Yeah, man, with the hoe train.
And this is the bit that annoys me. It is a filler match, and there's a couple of them here, which makes me wonder why they couldn't find time for Bulldog Berserker.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a few filler matches. This was a nothing match.
We've got our Tassel Watch finds a few on Virgil, but not a lot.
Yeah. It's a filler match. There's nothing of great. It just, poor old referee Danny Davis is trying to keep control. It's a bit of a weird finish as well.
They don't even put the legal man in this either.
Yeah, that was what it was about. So yeah, it was a weird one, nothing match. But the best part of it was the bit at the beginning where Ray Coombs is talking about the the wrestlers on the heel team. You know, they're saying it's, you know, he doesn't know the meaning of the word fear, talking about the mountain. He's like, but then again, there's a lot of words he doesn't know the meaning of, you know, and he's just ripping into them so badly that when he talks about the Nasty Boys and he says, one word can be used to sum up their career, lucky. And then he ends up diving out the ring there, like trying to grab him and stuff. It's great. It's really good.
Virgil is wearing a face mask in all of this because I think someone broke his nose. Sags gets the face mask off him, tries to hit Virgil, ends up hitting Brian Knobbs. And, you know, Knobbs wasn't even the legal man, the Mountie was. So I think we've given it as much attention as it deserves.
That's right, yeah.
Because up next is one half of our double main event. And it's, you know, Sean Mooney is up next with Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect. And they have the photo, the big photo that they're going to put up on the screens of Liz. And this is Ric Flair, you know, in his best mode, really. You know, bright lights, big cities. And he says that Liz has one more shot at Space Mountain.
That's right.
For those of you not familiar with Ric's, you know, Space Mountain references, that means his penis.
Yeah, it's like it's a really, really good interview, man. You know, as soon as it starts, they start with the healing. So Paul Mooney starts saying something, and Perfect just cuts in, "Shut up, Mooney."
Yeah.
You know, and then Flair. It's good. You know, Perfect's there, and he's like, We've taken out all the blemishes we can on this photo here. So Liz is looking as perfect as she ever could, you know, and he's, you know, looking at they're both like, woo, you know, looking at the picture and everything. You know, it's just good. It's just good, you know, and when Flair drops that line, you know.
Do you have a Coliseum video exclusive here? I'm remembering that right?
Not yet. It's it comes up. There's Gene after this one?
Yeah, because Gene is outside Randy's locker room. He's outside Randy Savage's locker room. There's no interview. That's it. Like,
but then it goes to the ring and the entrances of Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect, and you've got Heenan wooing loads, like, and then it cuts to Coliseum exclusive. Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have to tell everyone about it.
Oh right, did you not get them on there?
Well, not on the. I watched it on the network because I still.
But you know, on the video where they're coming. Yeah,
I knew where it was. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Lord Alfred Hayes with Macho Man Randy Savage, a Coliseum exclusive, and it's a pretty good interview. It's a pretty good little, you know, tingling. Yeah, it's good.
It's our WWF Championship match. It's why it's going on now is beyond me, but here we are. Ric Flair with Mr. Perfect against the Macho Man. Let's take a second to just remind ourselves how great Howard Fink was doing these ring announcements. There's a massive pop for Savage.
Huge pop. I've got that on my notes as well. Huge pop for Randy Savage.
Now, not only is there a huge pop, but this is one of the best outfits that Randy Savage will ever wear. It's gold,
black and gold.
Black. It's got tassels all over it. It's, you know, he's got he's wearing a hat to begin with as well. It's class all the way. Now, bearing in mind that this originally was meant to be Hogan and Flair, when I thought about it, when I was rewatching this again for about the billionth time, I guess I sort of had like an epiphany and realised that Savage should have been in this match from the get-go.
Yeah, it's a weird one though, bro, because wouldn't it be not long after this that basically the WWF would say to Randy that you're going on commentary and basically we don't want you working no more?
I think that would get to around about 93, yeah.
So not really that long after this. So you just think he's had a fucking great match here with Flair. And as you say, it should have been match really against Flair from the get-go in this main event.
I'm saying this just because he's come off arguably his hottest ever feud. I mean, his feud
with Jake.
his feud with Warrior was great anyway. But
Yeah.
this feud with Jake, that he comes out, on top of after, the bite, the Cobra bite, and all that stuff. Like, Savage should easily be the number one contender.
But then again, it's the Hogan effect,
And
bro.
yeah, Hogan's wearing thin as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Brett's not ready. It's got to be Savage, or Piper is, because Piper is never really in or out for too long. It's Savage.
Has to be.
Yeah, and I was just amazed, like, why they weren't just putting Savage in there to begin with, like, and they were going with this Hogan thing, and like, what were they going to do? Were they going to match up Sid and Savage or something? Or were they going to go with another Jake match with Savage? They'd already done it to death at this point.
Yeah, but Sid wouldn't be in WWF for that long after this, would he?
No, he would be gone as well. He would.
And then what? He comes back like 96.
Well, yeah, he goes back to WCW, doesn't he, in '93?
Yeah.
I think we've covered that one. He returns to WCW and gets a massive pop there because he's his own beast, isn't he? But
I love Sid. I fucking love him.
Yeah, but yeah, that was just me sort of like, writing off and saying that, yeah, Savage should have been number one contender in the first place. I don't know how it got so roundabout, but this is where we got to.
Well, I mean, we know how we got to that, and we'll get to it a little bit later on in the event, where there's a little interview and things about, Hogan and Vince McMahon as his, says a few words and all this, and it's all this fucking sucking off Hogan fucking bullshit. Is this his last match? Fucking who gives a shit? Kind of bullshit. He shouldn't have been part of this pay-per-view. I don't think. I think it would have been better without him.
It might not have done the numbers without him, though. He's still a draw. So
it might not have done the numbers, but it would have been a better pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'll agree on that. This match, there's so much going on in this match, but I'm just gonna try and get through some of it. Like,
yeah,
Bobby Heenan is rabidly behind Flair on this. He's calling, saying, he's not going to lose it to a punk like Savage.
Yeah.
And the storytelling in itself, Flair is very overconfident. It's something they eventually bring up. It's just done. And not just because he's involved in the match, but he's done perfectly. I mean, he gets involved straight away when Savage goes after Flair. It's another really well done match. Like I said, second best match of the show. But I don't know, man. Like, this should have gone on last.
This is what, and these little things annoy me. Yeah, these little things annoy me, and it's like, again, it seems like I'm always dogging on Hogan all the time, but he's one of these fucking people that, indirectly or directly, his presence and his fingerprints over certain events have degraded events and pushed people down the card that have had absolutely great matches that should have been pushed up the card more. It should have been more main event. I mean, the Bret Hart Piper match should have been higher in the card.
Is Savage hotter than Hogan at this point?
To be honest, probably not.
No.
Gauging from the pops that Hogan gets. But I mean, storyline wise, yes, he is hotter.
Yeah.
He's having better matches. He's always had better matches. He's always been more intense. Because I was always a Macho King guy. Yeah. I was never even really an Ultimate Warrior guy. I liked the Warrior because I was a kid and he was hyped. But I was always, I like the Warrior. I liked the, because I was a kid and he was hyped and he was, shaking the thicket. We'll get to Warrior anyway. But you know, I was always a Macho Man fan. He just had that charisma. The you know the you know it just the whole thing of him. You know, the whole thing of him.
So,
You know.
I mean, you're not completely dogging Hogan here because you're saying like he's still one of the hottest things on the show.
Oh yeah, I mean he was still hot in the eyes of the crowd, but I do think it was more of an American thing. I think you'll find, like, all right, you still get the Hogan fans in the UK, but I still think that really in the UK, people were more into probably Bret the Hitman Hart, Macho Man, Warrior. You know, there weren't so many Hogan marks than there are in America. I think he was a very, you know, I am a real American. You know, we are not real Americans. You know, and I think Brett says it even in one of his shoot interviews. You know, that when he came to Europe, you know, he was getting absolutely mobbed. He was absolutely. I mean, and Bret Hitman Hart for me, this is why this signature of Bret the Hitman Hart on this thing is like my prized possession in my collection, because Bret for me just was miles above fucking Hogan. You know, promo wise, sure he wasn't up there. You know, but still he should have. I mean, didn't Bret have Jimmy Hart at one point being a manager for him when it was the Hart Foundation? Didn't they have Jimmy at one point?
Yeah, I think so.
Because obviously Hart and Hart, it made sense that they were together, and I
think they did. Yeah, I'm not. Maybe like in the 80s, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, early days. This is, yeah, you know, early days. But you know, yeah, Hogan was, you know, a hot commodity on this show, you know, and he got the pops. But I mean, if you even we'll get to the Hogan match, but if you compare the two matches, there's no comparison, bro.
Yeah,
It's not even close, man. Like, you know, it was at the point where even I think Hogan just fucking called it in. He called it in.
Well, there is a story to that bit like later on, and yeah, there's a bit to explain. But like I said, this match is, you know, ridiculously dramatic. The fans think it's over on a 2 count when Flair goes to the top rope and Savage just sort of clocks in one, and they start booing. Like they boo after the 2 count because they think it's over. Just, you know,
yeah,
like that. And they've in 2 matches here, they've dragged the fans right into it. Like a really hot crowd. Flair blades pointlessly. This doesn't make any sense.
it's when there's a reverse neck breaker for the comeback, and then Macho basically Flair's outside. Macho comes down with his axe handle thing, and Flair hits the rail. But then it's probably Flair in his head thinking, this is the first ever time Ric Flair has been on a WrestleMania. Can you believe that?
Yeah, no,
Can you believe?
yeah, that's it. It's his first WrestleMania. He wants to put on a show, but
do you know what I mean?
If it was going to make any sense, and I mean there is a no blading policy here at this point, then Savage would have done it.
Was there a no blading
Yeah.
policy? But Bret does it and Flair does it.
Yeah, on the same show.
Like, yeah, they're just like 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it, yeah, you know.
I'm pretty sure Flair and them were pissed when they saw Bret had done it, but
yeah. Oh man, it's funny. It's something just popped into my head. Yeah, there's a movie, and it's Have you ever heard of it? It's called Kayfabe, the movie.
No.
Dude, I'll tell you what, right, wrestling fans, right, dude, I'm going to dig it out for you as well. It might even be on YouTube. And when we talk about blading and stuff like that, yeah, they also call it getting colour. And
gigging, yeah.
Yeah, gigging, getting colour. And there's this like, it's a comedy movie based around this little wrestling promotion in Canada, and it's called Kayfabe the movie. And
Isn't Impact Wrestling based in Canada now?
No, it's basically just a comedy movie about wrestling, and the promoter says, no one's getting any goddamn color tonight. You got that? Like, and it just, when you say there's a no blading policy, I just can imagine, Vince out the back just saying, nobody's getting any goddamn color tonight, because basically when they get color or they blade, they get given more money or whatever. So the promoter in this kayfabe, a real movie about a fake real sport. That's what it's called.
Okay.
And he's like, no one's getting any goddamn color tonight. I'm not paying anyone any goddamn money to get any goddamn color. And yes, it is on YouTube. It's called Kayfabe, a fake real movie about a fake real sport.
Oh,
and it's like an hour and a half long. And dude, it is fucking great, man. It's just really good. It is just like, do you ever watch Trailer Park Boys?
No.
It's basically like Trailer Park Boys, but with wrestling.
Okay.
It's just great. I'm sorry. It's just really good. So anyone, I know people that really like it. Our friend Carl Gillespie, I know he's a huge fan of it, that movie. I also think our Hoss of the Week is a huge fan of the movie as well.
Skip. Shout out to
Sunset
Skip.
So shout out to, yeah, man. So shout out to Sunset Skip. I know Sunset Skip knows about this movie too.
For those of you who don't know about Skip, I mean, he is the guy that's done it all.
He was probably backstage at this point of WrestleMania 8.
That's something we need to ask him, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was the one that convinced Flair to blade, because he said, look, this is your fucking first WrestleMania, bro. You need to go out there. Even though Vince has told you don't get no color, you need to do it, dude.
A Sunset Skip fact right there.
That's
we'll
right.
need to double check that, but yeah, I'm all for it.
We'll have to let him know that we've mentioned him as well, so he can either deny the fact, or he can qualify it as fact that he was actually the one that told Flair to blade.
Randy hits his flying elbow. Perfect breaks it up. Although they're a little bit out of position because Randy has to move himself a little bit closer to get pulled out of the ring.
Oh, did we miss the knuckle duster yet?
No, we just get into it.
All right.
Perfect and Savage are having a little pull apart with the ref, and Perfect pulls these knuckle dusters, like, they look a bit plasticky though, out of his pocket.
A lot of the time they would make them out of soap from the hotel. So they would get a bar of soap, yeah, and then they would like carve it out into the shape that would go round. Then they would wrap tape around it, and that was what they would use for a bit of a useless fact for you there. Yeah.
Ric Flair uses this soap tape, I guess, or tape on Randy, gets a 2 count. Perfect then hits Savage's knee with a chair. And this is Liz's cue to come running down with a young Shane O'Mac.
I've got that in the notes as well, yeah. A young Shane O'Mac.
Him and some of the other backstage guys trying to get to go back towards the entrance and whatever. At this point, it does distract from the fact that Rick's got Randy in a figure 4, but that doesn't annoy me that much.
Well, because he's but this is when Ric Flair is doing Ric Flair. Once Macho gets whacked with the chair on the knee, that's when he starts doing the high knee breakers. And he's really working Randy's knee. But then it's great because you've got fucking Heenan as well. As soon as Liz comes down the aisle, was like, "Show me the picture, show me the picture."
He's insisting that she's winked at Ric Flair.
That's right.
Flair is now getting into comedy Rick mode, saying, "This is for you, baby," and all that stuff.
And Heenan goes, "Look at Liz. She just let out a woo." "No, she didn't. Will you stop?" And he's like, "She did. She let out a woo."
And the match, it doesn't fall apart, but it does sort of grind slowly to a halt. But Flair keeps working the knee, and then swings a punch at Savage. Savage ducks it and rolls him up. Has a fistful of trunks.
Yes, right.
And we've got a new champion.
That's right.
The pop is beyond huge. It's like, arena shaking stuff. you know, it's all a bit weird because Flair doesn't seem to like comprehend it. He's, you know, he's still standing there in the ring. He's realizing he's lost the match. He gets hold of Liz and gives her a kiss.
Yeah, he goes up to her and he's like, "What about me? What about me?" You know what I mean? He's right in Liz's face and that, and then yeah, he kind of grabs
Now,
hashtag Me Too.
yeah, Randy didn't know about this,
Oh,
which is why Randy almost knocks Liz over on the way
to
to getting
get to
the ring.
Rick.
Yeah.
Rick's such a cheeky cunt, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's such a cheeky fucker.
But Rick said, like, in his autograph, he says, look, he gives her a kiss and then says, slap me, like, and she just goes for it. And you notice that some of Perfect's kicks aren't really that well pulled on Savage when he's on the floor. He's just sort of like toe punting him in the ribs.
Yeah, he's laying him in, man.
It's an absolute chaos. They finally clear the ring. There's a fireworks.
It's crazy because
Savage.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy because they're like holding Macho Man Randy Savage down, but
They are
like
literally holding him down, like,
but they just keep coming and kicking him. Like he can't do anything.
They had to hold him down until Flair had disappeared. Like, Randy eventually calms down, but like he's not expecting that, and yeah, he thinks Rick sort of.
Dude, do you reckon Liz knew about it? Do you reckon Liz knew? Let's start a thing. I reckon like Rick probably, because I mean, not being funny, you and I, we both know as huge fans of WCW who would end up in WCW alongside Ric Flair.
True. This is it.
Elizabeth and the one woman.
Oh. Sean Mooney, Bobby Heenan has left the commentary booth as well. He is making his way down to.
He's pissed. He's
to
pissed.
the locker room because he is
so good.
So pissed. Sean Mooney does catch up with Flair, Perfect, and Heenan. Now, this is brilliant from Rick. You know, whilst the other two are complaining about the trunks and the cheating, Rick says, we're not complaining, we're going to reassemble. Like, he's not crying off to Jack Tunney about nothing.
No, that's right. He's not. He wasn't in the ring like Hogan would have been, giving like plain charades, pulling up his. Because Hogan, that's what Hogan does.
Going under the ropes, yeah.
Going under the ropes, showing it. Do you know what I mean? Punk son of a bitch.
Like, Perfect complains about the trunks, yeah, but there's nothing like and Rick, like, you know, putting gasoline or pissing gasoline on the fire, saying he'd love to get Liz and kiss those moist wet lips.
Yes, he literally is just throwing gasoline on it, man. Like, it's so funny because you got Bobby Heenan comes down. He's like, don't worry, I've got it all in hand. I've got it on tape. He had a handful of tights, you know. And then you've got Perfect saying, this man here has never taken a shortcut. It's so good. This man's never taken a shortcut. He's like, but Macho, he's a cheater, just like his old lady.
Yeah,
and it's just quality. It's such a good promo, man. But like you say, Flair brings it back, calm, cool, and collected, with his crazy hair and bleeding. You know, he's there. He's like, yeah, we're gonna regroup, but they keep talking about next time. Yeah. They keep talking about next time. Even Randy Savage, there's a promo after of him.
Well, yeah, Savage just cuts a great promo as well after this.
Fantastic.
Everything just comes into place here in this match. Even the promos afterwards, you know, saying he only got a piece of Flair.
Yeah.
He wants to beat him up. You know, he's finally got what makes him tick, and he's pointing to the championship.
That's right.
He only got a little piece of him. He wants the whole thing next time. Even rips off that glorious outfit that he's wearing.
But that as well. So the match itself, the whole hoo-ha, both of the promos afterwards, why could this not have been the main event?
Well, I guess it was to set up some rematches. That's the only way I can sort of put it together, is that they wanted to get a promo after the match of them saying how they're going to go again, and you know, people should definitely tune in. There's not going to be a Sid and Hogan rematch. There's no need. No,
but this is why there's fucking no point in it being. That should have been the first part of the main event.
If you remember, on one of our other shows, the Gravest Challenge, Survivor Series '91, Hogan and the Undertaker, where they do flip the title, goes on halfway through, just so they can plug the rematch at Tuesday in Texas for another hour.
Yeah.
So maybe the plan was to get some rematches on the road. It's the only thing I can think of.
But then then we get the WrestleMania weekend vignette video package after, and you've got Vince McMahon sitting with Hogan, and they're talking about, is this going to be your last match? You know, he's going to film rough stuff, you know, and then when after that, he's going to come back possibly and you know, go after the champion or whatever.
Oh, I didn't have this on the network.
Did you not have that? Basically,
No.
you get the WrestleMania weekend vignette, and you've got, so first of all, you've got like Sherry and the Nasty Boys and that singing a song on the stage for some charity event, and it's really funny.
Is this the one with the lookalike competition?
Yeah. So that's what. Yeah, because you know the video inside out. Yeah. So you've got Paul Bearer and the big boss man. Yeah, and they win it. They're tied, and then you've got the competition for WrestleMania, the arcade game. There's a competition on that. And then you've got Hogan and Vince talking, you know, and Vince saying, you know, oh, is this going to be your last match? You know, and he said, no, I'm coming back after. But I think there's another part in it as well where they're talking about.
They do later on, in between a Sid promo. For some reason, they split a Sid promo. For some reason,
it's weird.
After that, did you get the press conference recap?
Press conference for.
They cut back to the press conference for where they were originally announcing that Hogan was the #1 contender.
Is that when you've got Rick Martel in a suit and fucking someone says to him, "Who dressed you, Vince McMahon?" And
No,
he's got some suit on. He said, "Oh, who dressed you, Vince McMahon?" It's just fucking well funny.
I've got the press conference recap here where Sid says that what Jack Tunney did was bogus. He says that
I didn't get that. No.
And they also show Sid's turn on Hogan from the Saturday Night's Main Event, and where he rearranges the barbershop and has all that like powder all over his face.
Oh no, I didn't get that. But we do get a Coliseum exclusive with Macho Man.
Oh, okay, yeah, take it away.
And he's hopping around, and Liz is there with him, and he's talking about, next time I'm going to get you, and this time we, you know, like I say, again, saying I only got a piece, and I'm going to get you next time. And in the background, like as Macho comes around the corner with Liz, you can just see Hawk from the Legion of Doom just like leaning up against the wall. And as soon as he hears Macho coming around the corner shouting, he kind of like stands up, looks around, and then runs around the corner.
Oh,
it's really funny. It's great stuff, man. But it's Heenan comes back after that because there's another match, and
yes,
he's absolutely livid, man.
Well, you also get a shot of the Lumpy Indians or Native Americans dancing around.
The lumpy Indians, as Heenan calls them.
Sean Mooney is with Rick Martel. They're pushing limits here because, you know, Martel's saying that these Indians or Native Americans have no style. Tatanka might not be out there because he's out. He might not wrestle because he's out there scalping tickets. I'm like, fuck, man.
Yeah, man, proper.
Getting close to the line here.
Yeah.
Bobby returns to the booth. That's right. Everybody saw it. Savage had a fistful of trunks, and they're gonna get the title back. They're gonna regroup. He's livid. Matter of time.
He's like shouting at Gene.
Gorilla says, "How many of you are going to do it? Doesn't matter. We're going to get the job done." And he goes, "You're not going to get me upset."
Yeah, he's like, "You're not going to get," but he's like so angry. He's like, "You're not going to get me upset. You're not going to get me upset." And he's like, okay, I'm calm now. Like he just settles down.
He offers Gorilla. He says to put him up.
Yeah, it's so funny. This is why it's one of my favourite tag teams on commentary. It will always be Gorilla and Heenan. They're back with. He says like, but in the Ric Flair match, he's saying to Gorilla, he's like, "Go on, Gorilla, give me one, give me one." He's like, "Give you what?" He's like, "Give me one, woo, woo." He's like, "Take that banana out of your mouth and give me a woo." You know,
They,
like, great.
yeah, if you only have to go back and watch the primetime stuff they did in the late 80s, where Bobby was constantly trying to get, you know, Gorilla to break and laugh on camera and stuff, and he would, because, you know, it's too funny.
Yeah. I still remember as well, dude, when Heenan left WWF,
Yeah,
and it was Gorilla that threw him out the back door.
only way
And
it's going to work.
it was, you know, dude, it was, for me, like, I get really upset when I watch that as well. But I'm laughing my fucking arse off, yeah, because Heenan's like stole a load of cutlery
Yeah,
and a
and
load of stuff in his
stuff,
bag. It's like, as he's chucking him out, he's like, "What's this?" He's like, "Oh no, you know, I need that for my dinner and all this." And he's like, got loads of cutlery he stole from fucking backstage, like loads of bits and bobs. And he's like, you know, it's so good, man. You know, like, I still remember that. I've got the best of Raw, and it's on there, you know, and it's that's just brilliant, man. Like you say, it was the only way it was going to work, with Gorilla throwing him out.
And well, yeah, this is Tatanka and Rick Martel. It's filler again, more filler. Tatanka has got some tassels on, but, you know, whatever.
The face factor, yeah.
I mean, the fans have really shut down on this.
I mean, they
us as well.
they start the match off, and the Indians, or the Native Americans, they're playing like some theme, or they're singing a song.
Yeah, and dancing out of there.
And dancing out, and they've already started the match. But I mean, Tatanka, actually, he would have quite a hefty unbeaten streak.
Yeah, someone who would end it? Ludwig Borger, maybe?
I think it was Ludwig Borger.
Yes.
Oh, dude, talk about Ludwig Borger.
There's a story there.
Dude, that guy's life, man. Jesus. Fucking hell. Like, you know, that guy, I mean, there's a Vice thing about it, I think, or there's a documentary about his life, and there's
if you check our Instagram, you'll see Ludwig Borger almost technically win the Intercontinental Championship as well. Something I did put out there once I found that video.
He was legitimately fucking alone, dude. You know, he was
tough. He was double tough.
He was fucking crazy, man. I mean, and he would have end up having like brain problems, you know.
He become a politician.
He became a politician, yeah. But he was also a long-term drug addict, alcoholic. Would end up, I think, shooting himself with a gun and giving himself fucking brain damage. Yeah, dude, his fucking story is crazy. He was like racist, notorious racist, like swastika tattoos and shit. Yeah, no, the guy was fucking loon. Unfortunately, he's like I say, he's passed away as well. But yeah, Ludwig Borger, I think, was the guy that ended Tatanka's unbeaten streak. But he had, I think he had quite a long unbeaten streak. Yeah,
he does. I think it goes all the way into like 93, 94, maybe. I'm not
really big.
Sure.
But then he also joins the corporation, don't he?
He does. It's a weird one, but he hits a crossbody for the win. That's as much as this match is, really. There's a few tomahawk chops and stuff.
Yeah, so I was saying Tatanka is all chops.
It's
pretty much.
Killer. And
yeah,
I mean, we can just skip over it as well, as much as they did, because Sean Mooney's with Money Inc. and Jimmy Hart, and they say that it's tax time, and you know they're going to take and all that stuff. You know, bearing in mind this is Ted DiBiase and the man, as I like to call him now, the father of the Fiend.
That's right. He is the father of the Fiend. Yeah, IRS.
If they're ever going to, bring back IRS, he has to be the father of the Fiend. That's it.
I got a question for you.
Go on.
Was the $1 Million Man possibly one of the best wrestling gimmicks ever?
For Ted, absolutely.
I think in general as well, like having someone who is just extremely rich. He was probably, I mean, they tried it with JBL, didn't they, after saying he had like...
JBL, I think they almost sort of tried it with Bobby Roode.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. Wall Street. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like, you know, beer money and all that stuff. And,
Beer money.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, I mean, as a gimmick, yeah, of course it is. Of course, there's someone that's got to be rich, you know, and whoever's rich is always a bad guy because they can buy whatever they want, and people want to be like that, you know. So yeah, it's a great gimmick. Like, it's one of the best from that era.
That's
You
what
know,
for
late
me. It's
'80s, early
yeah.
'90s. Yeah, it's really good. Like,
DiBiase.
it crosses a line now because of his manservant thing, but
Yeah.
you know, they called him the bodyguard for a bit as well. So well, yeah, we'll sort of stick with the bodyguard, Virgil. But
Didn't they have it at some points as well? When the $1 Million Man would win a match, he would put money in the mouth of his opponent, and then Virgil would like steal the money out of his mouth. You remember?
yeah, the old squash matches.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that was a huge part of my childhood, remembering people like the $1 Million Man. And for me, when I was growing up, like I used to love that whole thing of it, his laugh just alone is just embodies that whole character, that whole gimmick. And, the way that Vince sold it was like, no, you literally have to travel first class, you have to live that gimmick. You have to be
have
the
tons
$1 Million
of cash
Man.
on you. Yeah, it's
If that was Vince McMahon, if Vince was a wrestling character.
Vince, yeah,
Do you know
Vince
what I'm
had his
saying?
own gimmick to begin with. It would have been that.
Yes.
Vince would eventually have his own gimmick, which was the owner gimmick and the evil owner and stuff,
The Mr. McMahon, yeah.
which would be incredible in its own right. But yeah,
With
it would have been. He would have been, you know, millionaire Ted, not trillionaire Ted, millionaire Ted.
yeah.
Um, Mean Genes with the Natural Disasters as well. They're mad at Jimmy Hart for being a turncoat. The time for talking is done, according to these lot, which is great because
They
you
were
know,
shit at it.
these matches, yeah, Typhoon, Jesus Christ, man. And it is our tag team title match. It's Money Inc. with Jimmy Hart against the Natural Disasters. This was meant to be LOD, as we spoke about earlier on, but Hawk suspension, you know, put pay to that. There's a guy flashing some money in the crowd, and Bobby Heenan just guns him, saying, you know, flashing $1 bills. You need to get some proper money.
Yeah, he also goes in on some woman, right? There's
Yeah,
a woman that's got a sign that says "Natural Disasters Rule," and he just goes, "If she was at home doing the dishes, she wouldn't have time to make stupid cars like that,
yeah.
bimbo." Like it's just, and I let out the biggest lol. Like it was just, like fucking yeah, dude. Like you're well good.
Um,
Um,
Money and Kira just being overwhelmed by the big guys. They are. It's a mismatch, and it's a weird one because the Natural Disasters are the babyface team. Typhoon would botch going over the top rope in this,
yeah.
but this is not his most famous botch, so I can't even bring myself to talk about it too much. You know, there's a Shockmaster reference for anyone who's definitely, yeah, look it up, man. Everyone knows who the Shockmaster is. You know,
There's so many shoot interviews where people talk about it as well. Like Booker T spoke about it. Loads of people that were there, and like someone said, because Davey Boy Smith,
you can hear him.
you can hear he's like, "He's bloody." He
He's
says
bald on his
something like,
ass.
"His bloody fist fell on his ass." It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Also, there's a weird spot, a double clothesline spot with someone as big as Typhoon doesn't work.
Yeah, do you know why? Because he turns his back on it. Like before he gets like that's I've got that in my notes, and it's like
Yeah.
it's just so funny. Like Typhoon backs into a double clothesline. It's like, what the fuck, man?
A double clothesline with someone that big against someone not as big just doesn't work. It's just, yeah, it makes it look silly. Typhoon hits a big splash. Earthquake is about to do the big quake, and like the fans seem to get really into it, but Jimmy pulls IRS out, and the champs walk away. They're done for the night.
Didn't
They're giving up their share of the purse. Gorilla says.
yeah. I mean,
We get to our biggest waste of time of the evening in
go
this
on.
because Mean Gene is with Brutus the fucking Barber Beefcake.
Damn, I was going to say, didn't the Natural Disasters like win the title once, but then have it taken away, or it was on a dark match or something at some point?
I think they do win the titles eventually.
Do they?
Yeah.
I do remember them winning the belts, but I don't remember it that memorably.
Are they not the champions around SummerSlam '92?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. The biggest fucking.
It's a waste of screen time here. Hogan's best pal. This is the only reason he's getting the time. I zoned out on it because I couldn't be asked. I'm like, why the fuck are you here, man? Like, you're not wrestling. You're not actually involved in any storyline. You're not even a celebrity. You're just here.
Well,
he makes a point of saying last match or not. You know, making a big emphasis on not, like, whatever. Like, don't care.
it's crazy because they talk about his boating accident. You know about his boating accident?
Yeah.
Like, for anyone that don't know about it, like someone was doing like paragliding or something like that, and as they've come along, like he's got someone's foot or boot right in the face.
A woman's knees went flying into his face.
And literally, they had to completely reconstruct his whole face. And basically, he came back as the Booty Man. It was so they reconstructed him better, faster, stronger than before.
The Booty Man, the Butcher, the
Zodiac,
the Disciple.
Yeah.
There's more, isn't there? But
yeah, there is more. So basically, there was no reason for this apart from Hogan probably wanted to get Brutus a little payday.
Our best perfect sort of gimmick, goofy mate.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It's like he's basically just his pal, but he was probably just getting him a payday. Excuse me, getting him a payday after he had the bad boating accident where he couldn't
work. A payday for an interview that short is what, $20 and a bag of crisps. Like, there shouldn't be any real pay on this, because it takes time away from what's coming next, which is Owen Hart and Skinner. And
the Alligator Man.
Yeah, the Alligator Man. This match probably takes up less time than Beefcake. I didn't count it properly, but
it was horrible. It was literally 3 moves.
Yeah.
Excuse me, bloody hell.
Space.
Yeah.
Owen skins the cat, rolls him up for the win. Done and dusted.
Yep. That's it. You know?
Yeah.
Terrible.
We get to Gene again with Sid Justice. Sid's the line of the night. Shut up, you fat, bald-headed little oaf.
Yeah, love it. And again, this is another interview that I will always remember.
Yeah.
And I think, because I was the age I was when I watched this, is probably why a lot of these interviews are memorable to me. But there was some corkers. And Sid's interview here was an absolute corker. It's you fat, bald-headed little oaf. That first line from there. And he talks about, I curse you. I curse you. But that would be in the second half where they split this interview.
Yeah, they cut to that Vince thing with Hogan. Is it your last match? Are you
going to retire?
Fucking no. And it's like, and then you get that thank you for Hulkamania. Oh God.
But then they do the awkward handshake as well, where Hogan's like looking at him fucking really weirdly, and that it's like the most awkward. It's awkward, dude.
Maybe they were going to cuddle afterwards. I don't know.
Or just sniff a line of coke.
Yeah, maybe they're going to down some white chocolate Ico Pro. And get right to it. Speaking of Ico Pro, there was a question that was posed to me not long before the show. We started recording today. Cactus Matt would like to know how ripped you are after using his weights.
Yeah, I'm getting there, man. I'm getting there. My shoulders are getting bigger.
Look at that.
Yeah.
We can't see under the jumper or under the hoodie, but he's flexing.
I'm not quite Lex Express right now.
Not quite.
But I'm getting there, man.
Next week, can we see you in a WBF vest with your traps and your arms out?
If you're lucky, man. That'll be the Halloween episode, so I don't want to scare people.
Can I get you to down a glass of white chocolate Ico?
Yeah.
But yeah, he did pose that to me. He wanted to know how rich you were. He didn't quite say you had to whip your shirt off right this second. It would be a bonus for any of our viewers if you did, I'm sure. But
don't make me shoot a promo on Cactus Matt right now as well. Let me tell you something, brother.
We got time, man. We got time.
You know what I mean? God damn it. Because I've actually wrestled Matty as well, as you know, and
the footage exists, man. The footage is there somewhere.
The footage is there, man. I've got a lovely little video of Matt like just kicking the shit out of me, holding onto my leg and holding onto my foot and just kicking the back of my leg and just going, this is your champion, is it? This is your hero, like talking trash to me, kicking the crap out of me. And he wants to hope that I don't get too hench.
The man could play a vicious heel.
Trust me, he can, yeah. But the thing is, he can't be a real life heel because my son loves him too much, man. No, my son loves Matty too much.
He's definitely not a heel in real life.
No, he's not.
We get to the second part of this interview. Sid wants to end Hulkamania. He's the man that rules the world. He gets so intense on that.
So good.
Yeah. It's a shame that he didn't last longer in the WWF. Incidentally, for me, he finishes a pretty distant second in the Ico Pro Award this week, but he is jacked as well.
I've got Sid as runner up. Yeah, I've got Sid as runner up. He was big.
He obviously wasn't training as crazily as Luger was.
He weren't taking as many vitamins, saying as many prayers, or drinking as much milk.
He wasn't. Dr. Harvey Whippleman introduces Sid Justice. And then this is where, things sort of change. Like, you are annoyed that this is the main event, but Hogan gets that pop, which is like, fuck, man, like, still outrageous. The music's still playing as he starts to get the better of Sid in the early exchange. Like, I don't know why the music's still going.
Well, it's one of them ones as well, and you got to rate Sid for this. I mean, there's loads of signs though that say Sid rules the world, Sid is the man. There's
I have a question.
Of love. Yeah.
Could Sid have taken Hogan's place?
Because
that's what Sid was brought in for.
I think he had it all. He had the muscles. But maybe it would have only have worked if Hogan would have turned heel.
Yeah, I mean, Sid was always brought in to replace Hogan because Hogan was, winding down a bit. Sid never wanted to play babyface though. He always insisted that he was a better heel. But
I think he took bad advice from people on that one.
Possibly, because the reaction Sid would get, especially like the ones we've seen, like where he returned to WCW, it was Pop City. When he would turn up in ECW, he was, instantly the most over guy in ECW. And when he would win the title at Survivor Series in '96,
against
Madison Square Garden, again, massive pop for Sid. And he goes out and starts but even though he's a heel, right, he finishes the match and starts fist bumping fans.
Right. So good.
It's it is possible he could have taken Hogan's place. I think we'll leave that up to a bit of sort of a discussion for others. I think it would take too long to try and break it down.
I mean, Sid still for me has got one of my favourite WrestleMania moments as well, and it's that promo at WrestleMania 11
with Jenny McCarthy.
Jenny McCarthy, Nick Turturro. What do you think he's doing right now, Nick? He's got a feeling in his belly. It's fear. It's just your dreams have become the nightmares. Classic stuff.
The fans have come alive here now. Finally, they've woken up after those sort of like in between matches. Bit weird having the old test of strength rest hold that quickly.
It's weird, yeah, because as soon as the match starts, it starts like, as you say, with the music playing and that, and Sid's already getting battered. He's taking ring apron bumps. It's starting like that. But then, yeah, I mean, but that test of strength as well. Like Hogan really wasn't selling it that well. It was fucking awful. It looked terrible.
Yeah.
But I did like the choke slam on Hogan.
Well, the choke slam got some cheers as well, which I thought was funny.
Great.
This is where Gorilla had like coined the term Psycho Sid as well.
Yeah.
And it's something that he would obviously later on use in the WWF. Yeah, there was some good cheers on the choke slam, but then again, Sid got cheers when he eliminated Hogan at the Royal Rumble. So some fans were ready to get behind him. He uses the doctor's bag like that Whippleman has. He uses that on Hogan whilst Harvey distracts the ref. Then we get another rest hold, the nerve hold. I'm like, why have we got another one? We just had one.
For ages. Yeah, for ages. Maybe Hogan's blown up, man. We don't know. It's
someone must have been.
Like, after the test of strength and he chokeslammed Hogan. I liked it how him and Whippleman went to the corner to the camera.
Yeah.
And he says, I've got a saying, and it goes, do unto the man as he would do to you, but do it first.
Do it first.
Yeah. But it's just, and it's really good. I just think his whole character and persona of Sid, like, it was that kind of madman.
That whole talking to the camera thing, it was almost a bit Buff Bagwell, wasn't it?
Oh, dude, Buff with the stuff.
Yeah. The nerve hold, yeah. Sid would call for the power bomb. He would hit him with it. Obviously, it's a 2 count. He's hulking up. The Hulk up does, it does what it does to the fans. It's not as good as the Hulk up from WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
He does with Vince. Like that that one was brilliant. This one, for some reason, just doesn't hold as much.
Yeah, because I think because we probably wanted to see Hogan lose, and it's nice to see him getting power bombed by a monster like Sid. It's it would have been.
I'm surprised he didn't hurt his neck like that tombstone that never touched the ground. I'm trying not to set Chris off on this, but
don't, man.
I can't help myself.
It's fucking, like I say. I mean, but don't get me wrong. I'd love to meet Hogan one day. I'd shake his hand. I'd have a picture taken. I'd get an autograph or whatever. But like I say, it's just the whole character.
Would you say thank you for Hulkamania?
No. Do you know what I would do? I'd say thank you for Hulkamania, and that you allowed Bobby Heenan to rant about how he hated Hulkamania for years, because it gave me so much entertainment. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a Hulk up. He does slam him. The big leg drop. Sid kicks out. And there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
Because Charles Wright / Godfather / Karma / Papa Shango, as he is in this guise, missed his cue.
Yeah, because
he was meant to break the pin.
But in the end, Whippleman because Whippleman comes in, and I think that's what he's supposed to be disqualified for, isn't it? Because
it does count as a DQ because Whippleman inserts himself into it, but Papa Shango was meant to break the pin of the leg drop, and that's where the DQ was going to be.
Right.
But Shango missed his cue for whatever reason. Maybe he was taking a shit. I don't know.
He might have been with the hose.
He could, he was with the hose. But yeah, he does make his way out to the ring. He's way behind wherever he was meant to be. Maybe Hogan and Sid went ahead too quickly. I'm not sure. But him and Sid start laying into Hogan. Sid goes out to get a chair. And that's the Warriors music, as Gorilla says. And again, the place has lost it. Like, no one's expecting to see the Warrior here. He'd been fired in the summer of 91, so yeah, not that long ago.
He got fired with Davey Boy Smith for...
No, this was in 92.
Oh, okay.
He got fired. He demanded money, I think, before SummerSlam 91 to go out. Like, he demanded more money to go out and do the match, and Vince fired him after that. And him and Hogan against the Triangle of Terror, whatever they called it. And yeah, so the Warrior's back. Him and Hogan get rid of Sin, Papa Shango. They announce that Hogan does win by disqualification, but I'm guessing the world is thinking, fuck that. The Warrior's back, and they both have a big old pose. Hogan must pose, pal.
Yep.
And there's more pyro to end it, and we get a "So long, everybody" from Gorilla, and that's it. It's a crazy way to end a WrestleMania. One of the biggest stars from a couple of years before, even 91 maybe, because he had that killer match with Savage at WrestleMania 7. He's still a huge name, and for him to have a surprise, he does come back a bit smaller than he was, which led to a lot of rumors about Warrior not being Warrior and it being Kerry Von Erich with face paint and shit like that.
Yeah, it's only because he had a slightly different haircut as well.
Yeah, he had a weird sort of...
It looked like a soccer mum kind of bob, yeah.
But yeah, that was and that's your WrestleMania 8. Even describing it, maybe you feel it like as I'm talking about it, but I really enjoyed watching that one again.
Yeah, man.
Every time I watch it. So
yeah, I enjoy it because I've got fond memories of a lot of the promos. I do have a slightly bitter taste. A couple of the matches were not given the prominence that they probably deserved.
No,
but overall, great event. I'm not yawning because of the event, but it's because it's getting late.
Chris is tired for very particular reasons in general. I'm tired because I'm always tired. But it's been a hell of a week for both of us, I guess. I know you're incredibly busy doing what you're doing. The way we talk about this, it's not because it's a secret. It's just because we have personal lives and stuff.
Yeah.
And I would like to, and I didn't tell Chris about this beforehand. Maybe I should have done, but I like to shout out my mum. I've mentioned my mum a couple of times, for what she does for me and what she buys and stuff. When I was a kid, and all this enabling me to be such a wrestling geek. But she is currently in the hospital with a fractured back, and it is kind of horrible for her. So.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah, I hope she will be listening. Hopefully, unless she, if I'm honest, morphine in this show would probably knock her out. So.
Dude, what a combination, man! Yeah. Morphine in this show, damn.
That's not an invitation for people to start doing that, on the streets, prescribed morphine. Yeah, but Mum, get well soon.
Yeah, shout out to Mama B, man. I hope she's doing all right.
Yeah, and. Yeah, so we haven't really figured out what we're doing next. There is a Halloween special coming. It will likely be a Halloween Havoc show because we didn't do our giveaway last week. We did talk about it, but like I said, things have got in the way. Things have got in our heads.
Yeah, it seems both of us have had stuff pop up this week that has kind of thrown us out, but we're still here. We're still doing it, no matter how tired or hectic life may be. We are still trying to find time to put out this content for y'all. So do us a favor and subscribe to the channel, please.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
I will be honest. I will definitely try and get a giveaway up just in time. Maybe probably just before next week's show. Get something going, because I've got a couple of ideas in my head that I'd like to speak to Chris about, on how you can win this sweet, sweet stuff. And
yes.
If it means you've got to sing some karaoke for us, just do it,
Dude, why not, man?
I'm not advocating anyone send us any videos of them singing. Please, God, no. But yeah, that's it. Thank you to everyone, again, as usual, for still sticking with it, watching it, making it what it is. We have a lot of fun doing it. We have a lot of fun talking about it. If you like it, hit the like button, show us some love on Twitter, on Instagram, in on Facebook. We're everywhere.
That's right. The group on Facebook could be nice if we can get some more people. We do have some random people, like I say, we have a lot of people that we don't know in the group as well. We've got some people that have added it because they found it, or they were listeners. Our subscriber count is creeping up on YouTube, but we really need to get that up as well to getting it pushed up and out and about. Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe.
Hit that button. Stop messing
It's
about.
free. That's right. In Cockney rhyming slang, it's buckshy. It don't cost you nothing. So yeah, please give us a subscribe. Shout out to the main man JB. Obviously, he's had a lot going on this week, and I appreciate him being here this evening. We will be back in roughly a week-ish with another show. As JB said, we do know what we're doing for Halloween, but we don't really know. I mean, how many shows we've probably got in between now and the Halloween special? We've probably got another show. So
yeah, probably another show. So we might not get a WCW show next week. We might even flip it and go to another company.
I was going to say, dude,
I had a suggestion in mind, and purely because we could be heading this way. What about a lockdown?
Do you know what, dude? A TNA lockdown show. Are you fucking so? Do you know what, dude? That we've just decided on the show now that that's what's going to happen. We're going to pick a TNA lockdown show, and that will be next week. Our first TNA.
The UK is, sliding ever so quickly towards possibly another lockdown with this Corona COVID stuff, and I thought it would. Why not? This would be my first TNA show for a long time. Like I said, the only piece of TNA history I own is Turning Point 2004.
Yeah,
it'd be too easy for me to do that. I should watch something new. I should, and it's called Lockdown, so what a hell of a tie-in.
Fucking good shout, dude. Good shout. And for anyone that doesn't know, TNA Lockdown is a whole show of matches inside the steel cage.
Fuck, is it really?
Yeah, dude. That's why it's called Lockdown.
It was a whole show. I thought
it was a dude.
Match, like one cage match, and that's it.
No, man, it's the whole show's Lockdown, mate. TNA Lockdown.
Yeah, what was I thinking?
Oh, dude, you were thinking correctly. You said it now. We're doing it.
It's Lockdown next week. And
it's Lockdown, TNA Lockdown. And then we have got a Halloween special coming up. Oh, I'm excited. I get to watch some TNA, and Jordan's not going to moan at me for it. Brilliant.
Well, wait till my notes come out.
To be honest, if I could as well, I'll pick you a real good one, man, because like I say, there are some real good ones, because I don't want you to be left with a sour taste in your mouth after watching a TNA show. So we'll watch a really good one as well, because there are some crackers, man, from the Bravo years.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
there
totally
are
game
some
for
really
it,
good
so
ones.
Let's pick a good one and hope that people remember what TNA is.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, on that note, we will love you and leave you, everyone.
Yeah,
thanks for watching. Catch us on YouTube. Catch us on all the podcast platforms: Podbean, Spotify, Deezer, Castbox, Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, everything, literally every podcast platform imaginable. This has been episode 20. We've made it to 20, dude. Now we're into the 20s, baby. And this was WrestleMania 8 from 1992. I've been Chris Dredd.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm JB. So long, everybody.
Peace.